Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz at Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Monday. Hope your work week off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Jordan Kitchens and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Lots and lots and lots to do. LSU's baseball roster just about finalized for the summer. There was a commitment earlier today elsewhere, and I think that was probably the last guy on LSU's list. So I'll talk to you about where that sits here in 15 minutes. I spent Saturday night at LaBerge inside ESPN Bet. Had a big old time. I want to talk a little bit about that later today. Scottie Scheffler, pretty good. Watching some history. We'll do a little bit on that as well. But some football to be discussed for sure. Sean Fazan from Fox 8 is going to be on at 2 o'clock to talk about the New Orleans Saints. The Athletic put the college football quarterbacks in tiers. Something very, very striking about Tier 1 that we'll get into. And I started a series up on LouisianaSports.net today called In-Depth Chart, something we did last year right when we launched the site. And I'm going to go through every position on LSU's football team and kind of break it down in depth as to who is jockeying for playing time. And we'll talk about the center position coming up at 2:30. But we'll crank things up the way we do every single day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
So the front page of ESPN.com today is a piece that's been compiled by multiple contributors across ESPN's NFL team. And what they did was they took the offseason, boiled it down, looked at every roster, top to bottom, the entire National Football League. They ranked them from 1 to 32. Started with the Ravens, number 1. Then you get to the Eagles, number 2. No surprise there. You get to the Lions, number 3. You get the point. They take every team's biggest strength, biggest weakness, their X factor, and then the non-starter on the roster you may need to know. And they went through the depth chart of every team. If you're looking to kind of dive into the football, it's a pretty good comprehensive look at everybody in a digestible form. But as you well know, we're looking for local angles here. I'm not telling you about the non-starter to know for the Lions. It's Dan Skipper, their 5th offensive lineman. But we want to talk about the Saints, right? So I'm thinking, well, it's probably not going to be great, but let's see like where it is. And I start to scroll, and I keep scrolling, and you get to 27 with the Giants, and you get to 28 with the Titans. Well, they're not very good. The Jets are 29. I know that's not a great team. And then I saw the Panthers at 30, and I went, oh, this is not great. So what's 31? The Browns. And that means 32 is the Saints. 33 does not exist. ESPN ranks the Saints as the worst roster in the National Football League. They give the biggest strength to the Saints at edge rusher, where Granderson, Chase Young, Cam Jordan roam. They say the biggest weakness in the Saints organization on the roster right now is at quarterback. Certainly makes sense. Tyler Shough is a second-round pick that's never played. Their X factor for 2025 is Kelvin Banks and Taliesin Fuaga, and the non-starter to know is Kendre Miller. Maybe he can assume some role from Alvin Kamara. And that's the look at the Saints. And instead of sitting here in July and going, look, the Saints are the worst team in the league. What a disaster this entire fall is going to be. Mickey, what a doofus. Like, that's not really what anybody wants to hear, right? I don't have really any interest in doing that. So I decided, instead of bemoaning the roster and talking about how they're dead last, instead of doing that, I just wanted to look at, okay, well, what if they aren't the worst? Like, what will have happened if instead of 32nd, the Saints are closer to 20th? Like, what would have happened between August and the first week of January to make sure that they were closer to the middle of the pack than the bottom of the heap? And my thought is 3 ways. The first one is very obvious. If Tyler Shough is a great player and he just kind of figures it out really early as an old rookie, well, that is literally what the piece said it's their biggest weakness. I get that. If he's not a weakness, you drag yourself out of there pretty quickly. And that's the hope of every team that takes a quarterback in the first couple of rounds of every draft, that you're the guy that's going to rescue us. We're picking early in draft because we're not very good. Help. And if Tyler Shough comes in and looks poised and commands the huddle and throws the ball accurately and doesn't make really poor decisions, I think that's your quickest way out of the basement. The second piece to this puzzle, and keep in mind, none of the pieces really matter that much if quarterback is a complete mess, but I think everyone is well aware of that. The second piece to the equation that would make the Saints climb out of the gutter more quickly is if the offensive line is not just pretty good, as if it's really good. And that's possible, right? It's possible Taliese Fuaga is a Pro Bowl caliber right tackle. I thought he played well at left tackle. You move him to his more natural position, and oh, by the way, one that's not quite as demanding. He could be a Pro Bowler. You took Kelvin Banks in the first 10 picks of the draft. Guys that go in the first 10 picks of the draft make a lot of Pro Bowls, are really good as rookies often. You already know Eric McCoy is a top 4 center in the NFL. And then you got your guards, which you've got Ruiz, who's been in there, and then you've got Penning, who maybe unlocks something at guard. I'm asking, but that's the point. When you've got the roster that's ranked 32nd in the league, you're going to have to prove some people wrong to climb out of that. And maybe the Saints offensive line in this new form is really good. And guess what that does? It makes life a lot easier on Tyler Shough, and you can run the ball. And you know Kamara can pick up some yards, and there are a couple guys behind him that are going to have to figure some things out, stay on the field. But if Shough's good and the offensive line's good, you feel like Kellen Moore's pretty good, and you've got some guys to get the ball to on the outside. All of a sudden, you're not the worst team in the league. And then my third piece to this puzzle is to kind of pry the Saints out of this deal, is maybe your defensive front takes a massive step forward. The Saints last year up front defensively stunk. They didn't rush the passer well enough. They were a sieve against the run, and they've made some changes, namely Devon Godshaw. But you also went and signed Bullard over the weekend, and then Brzee a year older, and Granderson's got to play better than he did last year, and Chase Young is still a dynamic player. I can get you to an above-average NFL defensive line if all those things happen. You got to stay healthy. Brzee got to take a progression, specifically against the run. But Godshaw's a new face who's been a very good run stopper his NFL career. Getting older, but been a good run stopper. No one's going to argue Chase Young's talent. And Carl Granderson, he's had some really impressive moments. 2 years ago, he was a great pass rusher. I don't know if he was last year. In fact, I know he wasn't. But 2 years ago, he was. And you got to play Cam Jordan in the role that fits him, which is sparingly, not the massive amount of snaps he used to take when he was a perennial Pro Bowler. And let him teach the young guys, play a limited amount of snaps, and be a little bit productive when he's out there. I'm not even asking for Isaiah Foskey to take a huge jump. I think that ship is more than likely set sail. I won't slam the door on it, but you get it. It's not something I'm going to count on, right? And those are the three things. I think if those three things can happen, the Saints can be closer to 20 than 32. Shough develops, produces. The offensive line in a reconstructed form comes to life and becomes a well above average unit. You've invested plenty in that it could be that. And then your defensive front. The line of scrimmage and the quarterback. How easy is that? But it's something you got to point to. If you were wondering, well, where's the rest of the South? Those are the teams we got to compete with. Those are the teams we got to play. I told you earlier that the Panthers came in at number 30, so you're a couple of ticks behind Carolina. And the rest of the teams, the other two teams are not too far out in front of you. Atlanta's 26. So you got 26, 30, and 32 in the division. The consensus is with Baker Mayfield that Tampa is the best team in the division, but it's still not some sort of massive climb to get all the way to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Excuse me. Tampa does reach the top half of the league, but 12 is where you find Tampa. So you don't have anybody in your division that they consider a top 11 team in the NFL. You're looking at the playoff bubble right there. So it's disappointing to click the button and see the Saints show up at the bottom. How do they fix it? Well, that's what they got to get to work on starting on Wednesday. So we'll talk to Sean Fazan from Fox 8 about all that in 50 minutes from right now. Jordan, you've listened to me chat about the Saints here. They're last. Are you surprised by that?
I'm a little surprised, but I also feel like that's just the homer blood in me. So I'm like, well, damn, 32? I don't think we that bad. But, I mean, this team potentially could be pretty bad. And the way how I feel about it, I would like to be top 20, but that's only if you see signs from Shough that it's workable. But if he's a complete dumpster fire, you need to be losing. Like, I know nobody wants to
It's not going to be hard to lose if he's terrible.
It's not going to be hard. But if he's terrible, I'm okay with, I can say punting on the year, but, hey, we need a top 3 pick. We got to get one of these next guys because the quarterback class is loaded. We got to find a way to get one of these guys. But if Shough shows a sign of life, that you can work with this, it shows flashes, I can see the team getting up to maybe 25. Maybe 25. The list is a little it hurts the soul to watch. It does hurt the soul, but I just don't see the ceiling being that high for the team, even if things do go right. Like the Indianapolis closed at 25. I think they can be better than the Colts. Anthony Richardson, who knows? I think they can get there, but Tampa Bay at 12, no way in the world will the Saints be a top 12 team.
No, not this year.
No.
Just that's unless Shough is
bordering
on the MVP. You're not going to get there. So, all right, that's a look at the New Orleans Saints. We'll talk a little bit more about them coming up in 45 minutes from right now. LSU's baseball roster just about looks set up. I'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. Go by and see them. Airline at PQ. If you're in the market for a new vehicle in Baton Rouge, you are probably going to be on Airline Highway. Just make one more stop. You'll see the gorgeous facility. The wonderful staff will greet you. You'll feel like a guest and not a customer. Get behind the wheel. You'll feel the Genesis difference. Every single model on the line is an IHA top safety pick. All of them. Some of them top safety picks plus. Get behind the wheel. Feel the comfort, the style. Let the brand ambassadors tell you about all the features. Whether you're looking for an SUV or all the way down to the sedan. Entry level, highest end. It's a luxury vehicle at a reasonable price. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge, and you can check it all out online at genesisofbatonrouge.com.
With bold leadership and a growing population, Louisiana is rewarding excellence, attracting high-value companies, and fueling opportunity. Louisiana is winning now, and the sky is the limit. With every region and industry growing across a beautiful state that's more than a culture, it's a community with a quality of life that's more than satisfying. It's sustainable because the Louisiana you thought you knew is better than ever now. Come home, Louisiana.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
We're Rev Business, a local provider with nearly 90 years of experience. So when it comes to business in Louisiana, we know that personalized service is key. And we're here to go the extra mile with all fiber solutions that deliver what every business needs: reliability and quality. We're not just providers. We're the local team dedicated to helping you succeed. True partnerships are homegrown. Rev Business, internet, phone, managed services. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
One of the final dominoes in the transfer portal class fell earlier today. Joey Volchko, flame-throwing right-hander from Stanford, is headed to Athens to play for Wes Johnson and Georgia. Walks have been an issue for Volchko. Command's been a big issue for Volchko, but he throws really hard and he's got sharp breaking stuff. So he'll fit right in that Georgia staff, which last year threw a bunch of guys through 98 miles an hour. None of them threw it over the plate. They didn't get a lot of guys out. But Volchko will go play for the Dogs. I know that LSU was in the mix for Volchko. Don't know how close it was there at the end. And I feel like I can say with some degree of confidence that I think LSU's roster is just about set as far as the additions. Nothing would stun me in the transfer portal era if you find somebody here or there. When they found Dax Daith as a seventh-year community college transfer a couple weeks ago. Like, things can happen, and I don't pretend to know every single person that's available and who LSU's in on, but it feels like that was maybe the last ship to sail in the transfer portal class that LSU was heavily in on. So you look at kind of what LSU's got now, and I've got this all written at LouisianaSports.net if you'd like to go check it out. It's free. I put it up on Saturday, I believe. So you've got three catchers: Cade Arambidi coming back, Eddie Yaman coming back, and then you bring in Omar Cerna in this draft class, big power hitting catcher. So you got three guys at catcher. Infield, you really went hard in the transfer portal, so you've got a lot of numbers there, 10 of them. Tanner Reeves is back. Seth Dardar is back, is transferring in from Kansas State. Braden Simpson comes in from High Point. Zach York comes in from Grand Canyon. Then you've got Stephen Milam, who comes in as your shortstop. Trent Caraway from Oregon State. John Pearson is the lone returner there as a sophomore. And then in your signing class, you got Mason Braun, who's a first baseman, and then Ethan Kloss and Jack Ruckert, who are shortstops in the high school class. So that's 10 infielders that you've got, and you can cover every position there. Outfield depth is not massive, but it's a really good group. It's Chris Stanfield, Jake Brown, and Derek Curiel returning. You bring in Daniel Harden from community college. He's a Baton Rouge native, and then William Patrick, a big get in the signing class from St. Fred's. So you've got guys that can really run and big-time tools in Brown and Patrick. And then you've got Curiel, who's a star, and Stanfield, who's steady as they come. And you're in good shape for the outfield for 2026, this next year. But you're going to lose Stanfield. You're going to lose Brown. You're likely going to use Curiel in this draft and then in the following draft. So you're going to have to really restock those shelves next year. Outfield will be a big portal emphasis for LSU. But for this coming season, you've got a really good group there at the outfield. I count 21 pitchers that LSU's got. This is a long list to kind of run through, but you'll get the picture. As in the senior class, Zach Cowan, Connor Binge, Dax State, the Angelo State transfer that I was just talking about, and Grant Fontenot. You've got juniors in Jaden Newt and Gavin Guidry returning, as well as DJ Primo. You got transfers in Santiago Garcia and Cooper Moore. Garcia, the left-hander from Oregon. Moore, the former Kansas ace right-hander. Devin Sheeran comes back. That's a guy who absolutely has a chance to be in the starting rotation next year. Then you go to the sophomore class where you got a lot of talent from this past freshman class. Kason Evans, Maverick Rizzi, Cooper Williams, William Schmidt in that class. Ethan Plog comes in as a junior college as a left-hander. Danny Lockenmeyer is a transfer left-hander from North Dakota State. Ryler Smart comes in from Tennessee, big physical left-hander. Then you got your high school signees, Reagan Ricken, who I'm really excited about, Marcos Paz, who's I'm even more excited about, and then Zion Theophilus, the freshman, and then Jonah Hayes as a freshman as well. Connor Ware signed a contract with the Mets, so he is moving on after being selected in the 15th round. The one guy on this list that is still up in the air is River Hamilton. He was an 11th round selection of the Tigers, and I feel like it's very, very, very likely he's going to sign. So certainly they would take him. If not, he'll sign and move on to professional baseball. You counted, that's 21 pitchers and 5 outfielders. That makes 26. You got 10 infielders. That's 36. And then you got 3 catchers. That is 39 that LSU has. Your roster's got to be 34. So you're 5 over, right? What they have in place is a designated student athletes tag. What they did here is because they've limited the roster from down to 40 to 34, if you've got guys who would lose their scholarship based purely on that rule and being cut, you can designate them in this clause and they can stick around or transfer before August the 5th. So they've still got 2.5 weeks basically that they can still transfer. I don't know what LSU's plan is there. I'll try to do some digging over the course of the next week, but it feels like LSU is done adding at this point, and now it's just a matter of, okay, there's 5 extra that we have here. Who wants to be a designated student athlete? Who thinks, probably not going to play, I'm going to transfer out. And then you've always got the risk of injury, certainly more so with pitchers. And you hope that's not what happens, but sometimes it does. I mean, this time last year, Devin Sheeran tore his ACL. I think he was playing pickup basketball. So, it's an interesting time for college coaches from the time the regional ends, literally the regional, that's when the portal opens, and then through now when guys are still making transfer portal pledges. That's a long time to go. You're talking about 6 weeks of just complete upheaval with the roster. In 3 of those weeks, there are some teams still competing for a national championship. So it's just a mess in the summer with college baseball rosters being assembled. But we did this exercise, I think, in What If Wednesday last week when I was at Media Days. But right now it feels like Kate Arambedes, you're very, very likely catcher. I think it's likely at first base, some combination of Seth Dardar, Zach York. Both those guys are left-handed hitters. Just depends on who is better defensively there. At shortstop, it's certainly Milam. Second base, Dardar, Simpson, Reeves can play. And then I think Trent Caraway, the Oregon State transfer, is a likely third baseman, although Simpson can certainly play there as well. So that's kind of your look at the infield. The outfield, it's going to be Curiel Brown and Stanfield, I think, every day. They'll try to get William Patrick some at-bats, especially early in the season, because that's a guy that's just got immense physical ability. But your outfielder spots are set in stone. And then you've got a lot of pitchers that have got to find their way. The only guy that I feel really, really comfortable calling for his role today as a pitcher on that staff next year is Kason Evans. Like, I think Callan's going to be a weekend starter. We'll see. And then you got so many guys with so many capabilities. Like, Lockenmeyer's a guy they love from North Dakota State. He had a 2.37 ERA, 56 strikeouts to 18 walks last year at North Dakota State. He's really good. Is he just a left-handed reliever like Griffin Herring, or is he a starter? I don't know. Can William Schmidt take that jump? I'll see. Cooper Moore is a very, very high floor starting pitching option from Kansas. If you bring him in, he's in your weekend rotation. He's going to throw a ton of strikes. He's going to throw a lot of changeups. He's going to throw 93, 94 miles an hour, and he'll probably get you 5 or 6 solid innings. Is he going to be a Friday night guy or a front of the rotation guy? I don't think so, but he's a quality arm. What can you get out of Jaden Newton next year? Like, Dax Daith is a very intriguing right-handed arm up to 96 miles an hour. He's a 7th-year college player. Like, there's a lot of intrigue with this staff. Can Maverick Rizzi be a closer? What's Cooper Williams going to do? Can he start? Like, I feel like DJ Primo is probably just going to be a specialist lefty. So I should say I got a good feeling what he's going to do. But there are so many question marks with this roster. But as I look at it, and I look at LSU on paper, it looks to me like a team that should compete at the top of the SEC, should compete for a national seed, and should be able to compete for a national championship. I realize that's very, very obvious to say when you have the faith that everyone seems to have around here with Jay Johnson. I certainly share that. But I do see it. Now, you're going to have some guys step up, no doubt. But this baseball program and the resources behind it from a facility perspective and a coaching perspective and technology perspective, like, they develop really good players. And it feels like you are, generally speaking, going to get about the best out of most of the guys you bring in. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it doesn't. But they found a role for Jacob Myers this year. They made Chris Stanfield grow by leaps and bounds. Like, you got a Curiel, you got a Cruz. Like, okay, yeah, that guy's going to figure it out. But more often than not, they get guys in here and they get better and they produce, and LSU wins a lot of games. And I think when I look at this roster, it excites me for two big reasons. It excites me, first and foremost, clearly, because it looks like a championship caliber team to me with talent. That's the most exciting thing. The second most exciting thing is that I'm going to be able to go out there in the fall, and there's going to be real competition. Like, who's playing first? Who's playing second? Who's playing third? Who, besides Case and Evans, feels like they can start? What have you seen in the transition from these freshmen into sophomores? Like, who's gotten better over the course of a summer with your bats, whether it's in the Northwood League or Cape Cod, or you were sent off for instructional work or whatever the case may be? When you come back to Baton Rouge in the fall, who's taking steps forward? I'm looking for the Andrew Stevenson. Talented freshman, played a little bit, not a lot of production. Bam, sophomore year explodes. You can get that from Aaron Beatty. You can get that from Rizzi. You can get that from Cooper Williams or William Schmidt. That's a difference maker on this roster. But for those that are still monitoring the transfer portal and looking for Jay to send out the tiger emoji and checking up on Kendall Rogers 3 times a day, I think LSU's probably done. Again, would not stun me at all. I will leave that door open. I'm not saying sources tell me LSU's slamming the door. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm telling you based on what I know from what I was told 3 weeks ago. Like, I think you're looking at what is probably a portal class that has had its finishing touches put on it. So there's your roster. I think it's pretty good. Can't wait to watch them out there in the fall. We still got plenty to do here. Sean Fazan is going to be along in 30 minutes to talk a little bit about the New Orleans Saints. I've got some lists that we're going to get to in the second hour. College football quarterback tiers, LSU at center, and what that looks like with that rotation. Keep in mind, they went and got Braylon Moore, but DJ Chester was taking the first team reps into spring. Does that mean anything? I'll talk about it at the bottom of hour number 2. When we come back, I had a big old Saturday night. A lot of fun. Something I never really thought I'd be watching, but I was. So we'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Jonathan Carver and his team are fantastic folks to work with. I know that if you're a business owner, you probably hear from a lot of insurance agents. That's kind of the nature of the game. And you've got folks calling saying, hey, let me look at it. I can save some money for you. I can save you this and that. If that's all you're interested in hearing about, I probably wouldn't call Highland Insurance Group. They're certainly capable of saving some folks money because they got dozens of markets available to them as an independent broker, but that's not their specialty. Why they win business and why they keep business at Highland Insurance Group is because they're experts and because their clients know that as they operate their business, if something were to happen, storm, car accident, lawsuit, cyber breach, whatever, they're covered. If you're going to pay a lot up front for insurance, it might as well respond for you, right? The Highland Insurance Group will make sure that happens for you. Let them audit your policy. Let them take a look at it. It doesn't cost you anything. And make sure that you're in the right position. If you are, great. If you're not, let them talk to you about it. It's the Highland Insurance Group. You can find them online at HighlandIG.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 7.
Listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Hope your work week's off to a good start. Thanks for hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Had a lot of folks hanging out with 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge back on Saturday night. We had giveaway 4 VIP opportunities and 4 winners. For UFC 318, which was down in New Orleans, we were at LaBerge in Baton Rouge, ESPN Bet. I have been in that sports book for Saints Monday night games against the Chiefs, Saints Thursday night games. I've been in there for big-time college games. I've been in there for the World Series. I have never seen that sports book look like it did on Saturday night. It was packed, and it was buzzing on Saturday for UFC 318. Now, I don't need to make anything up here. Like, this is just straight from the horse's mouth. I've never seen a UFC fight before. Never watched one. Don't really know the rules. Don't know any of the fighters. Like, we were sitting there, and I was like, okay, I know Conor McGregor. I know John Bones Jones. And I knew Poirier. He's come on our station before. That's it. That's all I got. And then somebody brought up Ronda Rousey, and I remembered her name. She was on Entourage. Like, the fight scene is just not something I ever get into. But I will say this. Like, it was impressive to me what that arena looked like in New Orleans. It was impressive to me what the sports book looked like. And it didn't set the hook for me. I'm not going to watch the next UFC fight. I don't know how often they are. I don't even know where to watch them. I guess it's pay-per-view. Like, it's not my scene. But I don't have to want to get into it to appreciate the following that it has and the passion that people have. And, like, it's impossible for me to sit here and say that what I saw Saturday night was just UFC fans, or if there was the Louisiana Poirier retirement fight connection. It's probably a little bit of both. I'm guessing the sportsbook does a good amount of business for big UFC fights, and I'm guessing they did more business because of Poirier's career, where he's from, what he means to the people of this state that love UFC, and the fact they were sending him off. It was very, very cool. Now, to me, like, and keep in mind, I'm not trying to suggest like I know what I'm talking about here. I'm giving you the complete novice point of view on the fights that we watched. I realize you can't control fights, like what the outcome's going to be, unless you go WWE, then you can control them. But in the real fighting world, you can't control them. And I guess we watched, 6-7 fights on TV from the sportsbook, and like all of them went to decision. All of them were unanimous decisions. So there wasn't a split decision. There was not a submission. There was not a knockout. And like that, to me, is what, generally speaking, is the draw to the fight scene. Like, certainly there's skill and tactics, and the analysts are breaking things down, and I'm not going to pretend to know any of those type of things, but you didn't, to me, get the big highlights. Like, every once in a while, somebody struck a blow. But like, it didn't create the big highlight that like I was kind of looking for, is just the guy who's there just for the scene. I don't have any rooting interest. Like, sure, I'd like Poirier to win. He's a Louisiana guy. I'm a Louisiana guy. Like, that's great. But I was kind of taking it in as just to see what drew me to it. And I've watched boxing bouts in my day. Like, I was really young when Tyson took the world by storm, but I remember vividly watching Tyson Holyfield at my Little League year-end party. There were only 4 of us left at the end, and we watched Tyson Holyfield at a buddy's house. I did buy a couple of Mayweather fights and regretted it, generally speaking. But like, I'm not averse to a fight. I think the best line I've ever heard from a boxing/UFC promoter was, here's the deal. If I gave you LeBron and Jordan in their prime going one-on-one in a city park, and you were watching it, and then boom, a fist fight broke out 20 feet to the right, what would you watch? And like, that's a great pitch for a fight promoter. But it just doesn't do a lot for me. It's just not something I've spent a lot of time watching. For a lot of people, golf's like that. For a lot of people, baseball's like that. For a lot of people, basketball's like that. Or there's a lot of discussion about the WNBA right now and whether you like it or whether you don't. Like, for fighting just not that big a deal. But I was so impressed with the event and with what went on at LaBerge and how many people were in on it. And I think that it was great for the city of New Orleans to put on that show for the first time. We talked about it a lot. Like, that city was made to host stuff. And Matt was there, and I'm sure he'll talk about it on his show a little bit later. Alondra was there. I'm confident she probably talked about it this morning. I can't speak boots on the ground firsthand what it was like, but on TV it played. And we had the big TV going at LaBerge. If you're a fight fan, you've never been to LaBerge to watch a fight, here's your, like, go do it. Like, they did a great job. We could hear very clearly. The picture was big. If there were ever anything that we needed to know, like from the volume, we could get it. The replays were crystal clear. Like, it was a great environment, a great event. And to me, that stuff was more important as someone who doesn't watch the fights. It's like, oh man, New Orleans looks great on TV. Oh man, the arena looks hopping on TV. Oh man, LaBerge got it going on right now. Like, well, I don't care that the unanimous decision went the other way. I mean, when they pulled up, they finished the third round, and I'm watching. I was like, yeah, I think Poirier probably lost based on just what I'm watching. And they pulled up the stats at the end, and it was like strikes, clean strikes, whatever they're looking at over there. And it was multiplication being done on one side with Holloway over Poirier. But it looked like everybody kind of got what they wanted out of it, sans the Poirier win. It was big plus for the city of New Orleans. Jordan, you a fight fan over there?
I wouldn't say I'm a fight fan necessarily.
Did you watch Saturday?
Oh, I had to watch it, but I was put in a particular situation because when I first really started getting the UFC, I watched UFC 300 with Dev, and that's when Max Holloway knocked out Justin Gaethje. So I'm a Max guy. So seeing, so I was in a weird situation because, you want Dustin Poirier to have a good send-off, you want him to have a good retirement fight, but it's like, this is my favorite fighter. I didn't like nothing UFC until I saw him knock out Justin Gaethje, and I'm like, you know what? I'm a Max Holloway guy. I'm following Max Holloway.
This also stood out to me. It seemed like a massive amount of respect between every fighter that fought.
Yeah.
Usually, like in boxing, you've got two guys that either, whether it's manufactured or not, appear to hate each other.
Yeah, like
that did not appear to be the case in any of the UFC fights. It appeared to me to be like immense respect, like almost like a brotherhood type deal. But while we're going at it, like I'm going at it.
No, it definitely, you can tell that obviously because Max and Dustin have fought 3 times to this point. So
Yeah.
obviously they have a lot of mutual respect between the two. You know, two gladiators of the game, but well, of the sport, not a game. So yeah, it was a lot of respect. I mean, I watched when Poirier came out for the press conference. Everybody dapped him off. Like everybody that was sitting down literally dapped him off. You rarely see that. So a guy of Dustin Poirier's stature, he's going to command that type of respect. So it was beautiful to see, especially like every time they came out, they was like tapping gloves and like they was like having little mutual. They was talking to each other during the fight, like, you know, hey, you missed me here and all this. So it was just it was sad to see, to say the least. It was sad.
I mean, look, it's
I want a better ending.
The end of a great career. One of the things, this is how new I am to UFC, like literally never watched a fight. I'm realizing that we're watching the undercard, and guy gets bloodied real bad, and there's just blood all over the canvas. And I was like, did they clean that up? And we came out for the next fight. I was like, nope, they just go right back out there.
They like spray it, but I guess because like they can't get the blood.
Yeah, you can't get blood out of the
they can't get the blood out of it. But no, so I went to a cage fight with Devin. He brought us to cage fighting. So like, no, they got people that clean it up, but you ain't getting that stain out of there. Yeah, you ain't getting that stain out of it.
So, the last thing on it was just an awesome night at LeBear's. Appreciate them for making the whole thing possible. I had no idea what to expect walking in there. I knew we had 4 VIP winners. I walked in, we had the whole buffet area set up, the tables were set up, had the great wait staff that were incredible. I didn't know what kind of crowd would pop up, and that fight ended, close to midnight.
Oh yeah,
and it was full. I mean, the book was full of people. It created a really cool environment, even though I didn't have really much of a rooting interest at all. I mean, I'm theoretically pulling for Poirier, but it didn't.
Yeah, and
I don't know what I'm watching. So it was a fun Saturday when I had expectations that were completely. I had no idea what I was going into. And it was good.
And to be honest, Hunt, it really just shows you that how amazing the crowd sounded in the Smoothie King Center. I watched damn near every Pelicans game. The blender, it didn't sound like that in like at least 3 years, where it was just like rocking. I mean, at one point they couldn't even hear the whistle, like the bell. They didn't even hear the bell. They were still fighting, and like the round was over with. Like that's how loud it was. The blender was rocking. I mean, you kind of could just feel the city just had. It kind of had that vibe when it was like Super Bowl. When the Super Bowl was down, it had that vibe, like the city was alive.
Very cool. It's an awesome city to host an event in. So UFC 318 is in the books. We watched a little bit more history this weekend. I'll tell you about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
We're Rev Business, a local provider with nearly 90 years of experience. So when it comes to business in Louisiana, we know that personalized service is key. And we're here to go the extra mile with all fiber solutions that deliver what every business needs: reliability and quality. We're not just providers. We're the local team dedicated to helping you succeed. True partnerships are homegrown. Rev Business, internet, phone, managed services. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Wrapping up hour one here. Sean Fazende in 13 minutes talking Saints. They got Tyler Shough signed. They open up camp coming up on Wednesday. Not out in California this time around. They'll do it right down the road in Metairie. So we'll talk to Sean about that coming up in 13 minutes. We're watching some history right now in the world of golf. And it's been remarkable over the last 2.5 years to watch Scottie Scheffler play. I know golf's not for everybody, and certainly in September and October we don't spend a lot of time on it. Late July, I'm going to spend a little bit on it because it's a sports show, and what Scottie Scheffler is doing right now is truly remarkable. He was one shot away from joining Tiger Woods and Ben Hogan as the only 3 players in history to win 2 majors in 1 year by 5 shots or more. He's boat racing the best players in the world on link-style golfs at Augusta. He's winning the Players. He's winning at Harbor Town. He's winning signature events and majors. Now he's a 4-time major champ. He's a 2-time Masters champ, and he's got 3/4 of the career Grand Slam to his name. And if you've listened to me in the brief segments that Beck and I have kind of kicked around with golf, in my lifetime, Tiger's been the only guy to climb the mountain, to be the best player in the world, and then to just go on a run and really not lose it for 10 years. He got hurt, and then he went through one swing change, but he was the best for a long, long period of time. And there was a time early in his career where Rory was the best, and then he didn't win a major for 10 years. And there's a time where Jordan Spieth won the Masters and then should have won it the next year, and he won the British, and he won the U.S. Open at Chancery Bay, and you're like, this guy's going to be unbelievable, and he hadn't won since. Brooks Koepka went on a dominant run, 5-time major champion, kind of all on the same style golf courses. Never won on links, never won at Augusta. He just kind of won the big boy ballparks. And then he got hurt and went to live, and he's never been heard from again. Like Jason Day was the house on fire for a while and barely got one. And Dustin Johnson was incredible and barely got the one, and then he won the Fall Masters. But they lost it. And Justin Thomas was the next big thing, and he hasn't been really a factor. And Scottie's hung around longer than this, and his dominance level is better than those guys. Because not only is he winning the majors on different styles of golf courses, he's also winning all the other big events. And you heard the PGA Tour players this week say, like, what Scottie's doing is just awesome. And it was almost like, there's really not much I can do. Like, sometimes you hear those golfers and it fires them up and they want to compete more. And I'm not suggesting these guys are quitting because Scottie's winning all these tournaments, but they're speaking about him in a way that I haven't heard people speak about Rory like. I never heard anybody talk about Spieth like this. Nobody talked about Dustin Johnson this way. He's just bludgeoning them. And it was such a remarkable consistency. He made one score of over par on a hole the entire weekend. And he gets the 3-shot lead, and you're sitting there going, well, there's no chance he's shooting 74 tomorrow. There's no chance he's playing a 9-hole stretch in 38. Like, he just doesn't do it. He hits it in the fairway more often than not. His iron play is so far and away better than everybody else's in the world, it's not even a discussion. At one point, that was Colin Morikawa, not even close at this point. It's Scheffler. He's always been as good a chipper as there's on the PGA Tour, and when he putts like he did this weekend, you can cancel Christmas. It's over. They can't play with him. And these guys are so absurdly good at this level that for him to be that much better than everybody else is preposterous. And I have never sat here and said on this show, or really in like discussions with family or friends, like, this guy is going to stick around for a long time and be dominant. I've always said, well, Tiger's the only one that can stick around and be dominant. Everybody else kind of lost it. Not that they like couldn't make a cut or anything, but they didn't maintain that level. And it feels like Scottie Scheffler is the first guy that I'm rethinking that, and I'm going to go, well, this guy might win 7. He might win 8. Like, I've never thought that about anybody else. And it's the combination of his consistency, his demeanor, and the way that other players talk about him that is remarkable. And he's not going to change the game of golf like Tiger did. He's not as demonstrative. He's not as magnetic. But if you just watch it and you appreciate golf, like, I can speak to this conversation in the exact opposite way that I did the last segment on UFC. I don't know squat about UFC, and I'm not even going to pretend. I got a pretty good handle on golf. And to watch that guy just rip 6 irons and 7 irons and 8 irons hole high time and time and time again, and then roll in putts, and if he gets in trouble, he gets immediately out of it, it's amazing. And he doesn't have the huge fist pumps, and his press conferences afterward are really boring, and he's not attracting a whole new audience to the game of golf like Tiger did. It's none of that. It's not generational in that way. But it feels like it could be, in that this may be Scottie's generation. You talk about Jack and Arnie's generation, and you talk about Tiger's generation. This could be Scottie's. Because he's got 4, and I just feel like I would sleep pretty good if I had to put down a couple of paychecks on Scottie getting to 7. And you realize the rarefied air you are starting to get in when you start talking about that. It's a handful of guys in the history of the game. And his game is so consistent and so versatile, I don't see what's gonna stop it. I was enthralled watching yesterday, and he was in no jeopardy whatsoever of having anybody come catch him in the golf tournament. None. Like, he made a bogey, made a double on 8, but that cut it to 3. Did I think he was going to go out there and make another bogey? I did not, and he didn't. And you hear like Harris English talking. He's like, well, I feel like I had to go out there and do something pretty special. And Harris English played a great round, but he's going to have to shoot 62 to tie Scottie because he doesn't come back. So, a historic year for golf. You saw 2 amazing things. One, Rory McIlroy finishes the career Grand Slam in what I consider probably the best golf tournament I've ever watched in April. And then Scottie wins 2 majors, ticks off 2 more towards the career Grand Slam, gets to 4, and has got a chokehold on the number 1 ranking in the world of golf. It was really, really cool to watch. And I like history. I'm appreciative of history. Feels like we're watching it in golf right now. So that's it for our number one. We got a little bit of variety there. We talked some football at the top, talked a little bit of LSU baseball in the middle, got to some UFC, and then got some golf. That's a lot of variety here in July. We're going to get things back between the buoys and talk a lot about football in the second hour. College football quarterback tiers from the folks at The Athletic. Tier 1 is very, very interesting to me for a couple of reasons. I'll get into that. What is LSU doing at center this year? I've got that up at LouisianaSports.net, and we'll also talk about it at 2:30. We'll pause for SportsCenter, get you your national headlines. Then we'll come back. We'll talk to Sean Fazende about the state of the New Orleans Saints. We're just 2 days away from the Hoodats putting on some helmets and getting after it for the 2025 season. So we'll do that after SportsCenter on this Monday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business. 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I'm Christine Lisi. A return to the Clippers for Chris Paul. According to ESPN's Shams Charania, the 40-year-old point guard's agreed to a deal with LA for his 21st and expected final season in the NBA. It'll be Paul's third stint with the Clippers. As Cowboys training camp begins, Pro Bowl guard Tyler Smith has big expectations for Dallas in 2025. Super Bowl champions. He believes it is a realistic goal because of key pieces they added this offseason. It's been nearly 30 years since the Cowboys played in an NFC title game and in a Super Bowl. Unsportsmanlike co-host and Super Bowl champion, Chris Canty.
The Dallas Cowboys as Super Bowl contenders. Why can't they get there? Because there are a lot of other teams in your division and in your conference that are better than you are. And then, oh, by the way, the best player on the team doesn't have a contract extension.
Chris referring to pass rusher Micah Parsons entering the final year of his rookie deal, likely looking to reset the pass rusher market. Titans quarterback Will Levis will undergo season-ending shoulder surgery next week. The top overall pick, Cam Ward, will take all first-team reps at Titans training camp.
Your summer drink is here. Twisted Tea is a smooth, refreshing, hard iced tea with 5% alcohol, making it the perfect drink to take any day this summer to the next level. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Going to talk some LSU football coming up here in the second hour, 2:15 and 2:30. We're going to start with the New Orleans Saints. Before that, we go down to New Orleans. Chat with our guy Sean Fazan from Fox 8 in NOLA. Sean, how are you?
Doing all right. Just getting ready for training camp. How are you?
We're doing quite well. Before we get to the Saints, just briefly, it looks like you were in the Dome or in the Smoothie King Center, I should say, on Saturday. What can you tell us about UFC 318?
Unreal. Just a phenomenal live event. And to be honest, it's one of the first few times I've been, doing what we do. I haven't been in the stands a lot. Normally I'm doing, media stuff or press box or whatever, but I happen to sit in the stands for this one in the seats. Just an incredible event, incredible energy. I'm a huge Poirier fan. I know it was a tough loss, but I thought he went out right. I thought the crowd brought it. I thought it was a great card. Dana White certainly liked it. You don't really have to be a big-time UFC person to appreciate a live event like that. I thought it was a grand slam. I really did. It was phenomenal.
That's cool. The city looked awesome on TV. We had a big event at the casino here in Baton Rouge, and it looked great. And so I'm glad to hear that it looked right as good in person. Let's talk black and gold. Tyler Shough signs on the dotted line over the weekend. Was there any doubt that was going to get done here before camp, or was there a little bit of a testy energy?
No, it was going to get done. The question was, were they going to get 100% guarantee, 94% guarantee, 96% guarantee? But once the numbers started coming in, and the two picks behind getting 92% guarantee, and the pick right before him is getting fully guaranteed, him being the only quarterback, it was pretty much the deal had been done for them. It never got contentious. But I will say this, for Tyler Shough's case, he could not afford to hold out. I mean, those days have been drastically reduced, obviously, since the old days with obviously the new CBA with the way everything slotted. So I don't think it would have ever gotten to holdout stage. Fortunately, it's not going to get to that point. But once this week of training camp got here, or once this week of sort of moves got here, as they got closer and closer to training camps around the NFL, you just saw every second-round pick coming off the books, and it was only a matter of time. And at the end of the day, look, it's fully guaranteed, yes, but in the grand scheme of things, 4 years, 10.7 is not going to bury you for a guaranteed contract. And also, look, if he somehow becomes a player, a big time player, I mean, that will end up being a bargain for the Saints. So, all in all, no real contention. They got the deal done. We can all focus on training camp.
How do you expect the reps to be split as we start training camp here this week between Rattler and Shough?
That's a great question. In the off season, and a couple of practices we saw, it kind of rotated. And remember, we saw the third practice of the week until minicamp. So we didn't see the first two practices during the OTAs. And obviously The first day we were out there was Rattler, then they split first-team reps, then it was Shough, and they split first-team reps. So I would expect a similar rep breakdown just in terms of who gets first-team opportunities. Be very curious if they try to work in Hainer or Deggers at this point. I don't know, but it certainly feels like it's Rattler and Shough. It feels like to me also we're probably going to say Wednesday, the very first rep of practice probably went to Spencer Rattler just because I guess he's the closest thing to an incumbent, even though he's not the incumbent, obviously. But that wouldn't shock me if it went like that. But I expect an even distribution of reps throughout camp as they settle the obviously most important position on the field.
Yeah, how quickly will you think they want to make that call?
I think they're going to take as long as they need because I think there's going to be certain elements that they're just going to have to need game reps to at least get a decent evaluation on. I think that's unless someone really takes charge and pulls away early, I think they're going to take as much time as possible, and I think it's going to come all the way up through the preseason game. Because, look, you're talking about a guy with 7 appearances, 6 starts, not a single win in Spencer Rattler, one half of a start in Jake Hainer, who obviously did not do well, and Tyler Shough, who's obviously a rookie. They need some reps, and you need some just reps for a pure evaluation standpoint. And I think it's going to be a lot of practice reps, obviously, and then obviously when you get to preseason, those reps will matter as well. So I think they're going to collect as much information, as much data as possible. It wouldn't shock me at all. We don't know. We may have an idea, but we wouldn't know officially until before the regular season starts.
Would it shock you if Rattler starts the first game?
Wouldn't, no, because I think there's some things that he showed in the limited space we were able to see in the offseason that he did a little bit better than Shough. Wouldn't shock me. I do think Shough is the favorite. Just kind of my read on the situation, just because of the way they drafted him. He's got an explosive arm, and their teammates seem to be gravitating to him. But Rattler's a guy that's going to come in. He's going to compete, and if he can sort of hone in on the efficient part of the game and get better at the blitz, then I think he's got a legitimate shot. I do think if it's close, probably roll with Shough since that's the head coach's guy. They decided to use the second-round pick on him, the highest draft pick since Archie Manning. But I don't think it's a guarantee or a slam dunk by any means.
It creates an interesting dynamic in a locker room when the quarterback's unsettled. What do you think that means for the leadership, the culture, the environment, and kind of the reps day in and day out at practice when you don't have the guy?
It's a good question. I guess we can go back to the Jameis Taysom situation, but both those guys were veterans at that point, and it was a very veteran team at that point, which there seems to be kind of a mix with this team of young and old. So I do think that's just one of those situations where you just got to manage as best you can. If you're outside of the repetition of the reps from quarterback reps, you got to just do the best you can with what opportunities that you get. From a leadership standpoint, I don't know if you'd like to see one of those guys, because the quarterback is naturally a leadership position, sort of step up into that role and really embrace that role. But sometimes if you do that too quickly, you can rub teammates the wrong way. I think initially it'll be more the trusted guys, the Mario Davises, Cam Jordan, Eric McCoy, Foster Moreau types that will sort of carry the load when it comes to the leadership aspect of it. Hopefully one of those two quarterbacks can really grow into their role. And by the time season starts, gets rolling, they'll be more comfortable in that leadership aspect.
I led my show today. ESPN put together a list of the rosters in the NFL and ranked them 1 to 32, and they had the Saints at 32. That doesn't matter, but it is what it is. Does this feel different than any training camp that you covered, or is there one that you can recall that feels like this?
This is the first one I've covered like this, where there's just so many unknowns. I mean, look, you still got a 37-year-old head coach who's never been a head coach before and had a really meteoric rise to the coordinator ranks. You just talk about, from backup quarterback to QB coach to OC at 3 different stops with 3 high-end quarterbacks. So you're talking about a lot of unknowns. People ask me all the time how I think the Saints are going to do. I tell them I want to be dead wrong, but right now, I mean, based off what I'm seeing and based off what the roster looks like, and just just knowing football, and when you have a question mark at quarterback, brand new head coach, I mean, it doesn't shock me that ESPN was it ESPN that would rank the Saints roster like that. I don't think it's still to be determined, but I do think there are a lot more unknowns heading into this year than I can recall, just because everything is new. I mean, we're so used to 2 decades of just the Peyton way, even when Peyton wasn't here. to now a totally different way of doing things, just from a cultural standpoint, a practice standpoint, and throwing the fact you have you don't have a quarterback that's won a game in the NFL on your roster. I mean, there's certainly some legitimate questions going into the season. Is there a non-quarterback storyline that you'll be diving into the first week of camp? Yeah, there's a couple. I want to see who settles in at that third cornerback position. You got Isaac Yiadom, you got Riley, the rookie. It could be a spot where another guy comes in at some point if they are able to add before camp. And look, I am ready for this Saints offensive line to be the best position group on the team. I mean, just look at the investment up there. You've got 4 first-round picks and a second-round pick, all under the age of 28. That's kind of put together here for the Saints offensive line. Plus, they're better depth-wise with Will Clapp and Redund and Landon Young and those guys. So I'm ready for that offensive line to take that leap. And if that offensive line can take the leap, the multiplier that could bring, when you talk about stable offensive line, how much that can help the run game, how much that can help young quarterbacks, I think that's, if you're looking for maybe a sliver of hope, maybe that's where it can come from. Because if that comes together, I think that can have a very positive impact on the entire team. Make sure you hydrate this week. It's going to be warm out there. Enjoy some football. We'll talk to you down the line. All right, bud. Appreciate it. That is Sean Fazan, Fox 8 down in New Orleans. Appreciate a little bit of time. It's funny how, you know what? That's an interesting kind of thought is approaching the franchise as a whole. Because this time last year, we were looking at this team going, I just don't think the offensive line is going to be nearly good enough. Like, I don't know what Penning is, if he's at left tackle. I don't know what position Fuaga is going to play. He's never played a snap. Like, that's a little iffy. Left guard's up in the air. You're going to go with Lucas Patrick. Ruiz has been up and down. Maybe McCoy. And like, it was the biggest question mark on the team, really. And now you turn it around, and Fuaga had a great year, and McCoy's been awesome, and you drafted a first-rounder to go play on the left side, and you're moving Penning inside to a less demanding position, and all of a sudden you're looking at it going, man, if they're really good, that could be a foundation for this program. So it's like you go from the biggest question mark to maybe the best position group on the team in 12 months if you hit on 2 draft picks. If you hit on Fuaga and you hit on Banks, you change the entire complexion of it. And it lends itself to understanding just how big those draft picks are. You have to hit. If you're in a rut and you're low on talent and low on available funds, which the Saints are, you got to hit on the draft picks. And if Banks, Fuaga, and Shough are great, well, the Saints are going to be good quickly. If they're not, Saints are going to stay bad. So we'll see. Appreciate Sean for giving us a little bit of time. Saints report to camp coming up on Wednesday. All right, a couple segments of LSU to go here. The Athletic ranked college football's QB tiers. Tier 1, Garrett Nussmeier's in it. I'll give you that. But the rest of the tier is very interesting to me. I'll tell you why next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Safety. Safety's a big deal. Every single model on the Genesis line, all of them, IIHA top safety pick. So if you get in the sedan, SUV, entry level, highest end, no matter what, top safety pick. Some top safety pick plus. Got a family to drive around. Safety is very important. You'll feel the style and comfort. You'll see how gorgeous those cars are. Brand ambassadors will answer all your questions that you have about the features of the vehicles. It'll be a luxury experience. It'll come with a 100,000-mile, 10-year warranty. It'll come with 3 years of complimentary maintenance. All that's awesome. But safety is paramount for a lot of us who are purchasing vehicles. If you want to be sure you're in one of the safest cars on the road, go to Airline at PQ and chat them up about a Genesis. The whole inventory is online, GenesisofBatonRouge.com, but go by and see them. It's a first-class facility, first-class staff at Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find them online, GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, let's talk a little college football. The Athletic, and not just the Athletic staff, they compiled some opinions from coaches in college football as well as some NFL personnel and put together a list ranking every single projected starter in college football and putting them into tiers. They go through 7 tiers. Now, you get to the 7th tier, you're talking about teams that LSU is never going to play. It's the bottom of college football. But the top, it's interesting. Tier 1 is what the Athletic terms as the most talented quarterbacks in the country with the highest ceilings. They can carry their team and are often the biggest keys to victory. Many in this tier find themselves in the Heisman Trophy conversation. So that's tier 1 here. And I told you as we were entering the segment that Garrett Nussmeier is on the list. He is number 2 on this list. The blurb on Nussmeier reads, he waited 3 years on the bench to play at LSU. When he got his turn, he dazzled. Only returning starter in the FBS that threw for 4,000 yards. This is a Power 4 offensive coordinator that said, I was up and down on him. Then I watched him play up close and was like, this guy's pretty good. He can make some great go ball throws. And an SEC assistant said, Garrett Nussmeier is a baller, dude. So Garrett Nussmeier, number 2 on this list. What I find fascinating about the rest of this tier list in number 1 is numbers 1, 3, 4, and 5 around Garrett Nussmeier. It's something I've talked about a little bit in the offseason, but this is another list that brings it to life. Number 1, Cade Klubnik, Clemson, LSU's first opponent. Right up on him, a Power 4 head coach said he's really solid everywhere. He's a good, accurate passer, good size, can run. I don't know if he's elite at any trait, but I don't think he has any weaknesses. a Power 4 offensive coordinator, said, "I was Cade Klubnik's hater, but he balled out last year. I was impressed with him." The Athletic blurb says, "The lack of a consensus on a clear-cut number one underscored the unique quarterback year this is in college football. There's no alpha. There's some players that got number one votes, but Klubnik received the most love from opposing coaches because he checks every box." Okay, Klubnik, number one. Garrett Nussmeier, number two. Number three, Lenora Sellers, South Carolina, on LSU's schedule. Number four, John Mateer, Oklahoma, transfer from Washington State, on LSU's schedule. Number five, DJ Lagway from Florida, on LSU's schedule. LSU, by this compiled metric, hosts or plays the top 5 quarterbacks in the country outside of Garrett Nussmeier. He's number 2. So the 4 best quarterbacks in the nation, according to this list, are on LSU's schedule. That is no small thing because it's the biggest position in American sports is quarterback. And you're telling me that LSU is getting a look at what this story and the folks that they talk to compile it are the best 4 opposing quarterbacks that LSU could possibly play. Now, you don't play any of the others until 15 with Diego Pavia. I've given you my Diego Pavia line. Like, I think he's a fine, fun player. Do I think Vanderbilt's going to be a really good football team this year? I don't. But he's number 15. He's certainly on your schedule. Taylon Green of Arkansas makes the list at number 21. That's a guy that put up monster numbers in some games last year. Does it look crisp from a passing perspective? No. Does it look smooth as butter when he takes off and runs? Yes, but LSU did a really good job against Arkansas last year. We'll see if they can do it again. Marcel Reed is next on the on LSU schedule on this list. He comes in at number 26 in Tier 3 on the list. As I scroll through, Jackson Arnold, who LSU doesn't play, is 35, but Austin Simmons from Ole Miss is number 37. There was a lot of Austin Simmons buzz in Atlanta last week. Apparently, he did well for a lot of folks in the interview room. I heard one that didn't love him in the interview room, but and the thought on his talent level with Lane Kiffin's offense was really promising. He's number 37 on this list. He is in tier number 4. And then you get to Ty Simpson at Bama, who is number 47 on this list. Now, this is interesting to me because if you listened to my show last week, you would have heard Chuck Oliver say he thinks that Ty Simpson's going to lose that job. If you heard some others, you're like, yeah, Ty Simpson, kind of a low ceiling, maybe a high floor. There's just not a lot of positive buzz on Ty Simpson. I read the blurb on him. An SEC assistant said, I don't think he's going to be in the upper tier of the league. Bama at one point was so much better than everybody from a personnel perspective that they could overcome a Jake Coker, a quarterback who's just like, eh. Blake Sims just kind of, eh. I don't think they're like that anymore. In the era of the transfer portal, you can't just stockpile depth and be so much better than everybody that you can put the 50th best quarterback out there and be just fine. And that's what Alabama is attempting to do here at number 47. But interestingly, Georgia's Gunnar Stockton is number 48 on the list. And they're going to try to do the same thing. Now, I heard a lot more positive buzz on Gunnar Stockton than I did on Ty Simpson last week. But the point remains that these two teams are trying to do it with low-ceiling quarterbacks and stacked rosters elsewhere. It's a tough thing to do these days. You'll recognize number 50 in tier number 4. Goes by the name of Bryce Underwood. Just a question of whether or not he's going to be the starting quarterback for them, but he's on this list. And then you look at the next on LSU's list. As I scroll through, there was one more. And I don't see it. I thought there was one more. Maybe not. I got to tier 7 and didn't. So the point of the matter is I was to go through and kind of tell you where they think teams are. But when you're LSU and you're told, like, okay, you can only lose 2 games. You can lose 2. You can only lose 2. And you've got to play the 4 best quarterbacks possible. That's a tall task. That's a tall order. And Garrett Nussmeier's task is to prove he's better than them and to go out there and outplay those guys and win. But I can't think of a time where you were going to look at this list and LSU was going to face the toughest 4 quarterbacks in the country in one season, especially one that had as much riding on it as this year does. Because the universal thought in Atlanta last week and in Baton Rouge right now, when you think about LSU, it's you better get it done this year. Is that because of your schedule? No, it's because of your talent. And oh, by the way, your schedule has got dudes on it, starting with week 1 on the road. You split the difference between those 4 quarterbacks home and away. You play Klubnik on the road. You play Mateer on the road. Lagway comes to you. Sellers comes to you. But that's a tall task that you got to face. And I know that a lot of you out there, or if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. That's a very, very overused cliche, and I think it's dumb. Because I think to be the man, you just have to beat whoever's on the other sideline. They don't have to be the man. Alabama still gets a national championship after Colt McCoy got hurt. They didn't take that one away from Saban. Still got the Rose Bowl title, BCS championship. And I'm not saying I need everybody's quarterback to get hurt, but if you let me play the number 58 quarterback instead of the number 1 quarterback in the opener, I'll take the number 58 quarterback. But no such luck for these Tigers. It's line them up as good as the other has got. That's who you got to play. So you can check out that story on The Athletic. It makes me feel better as I'm complaining about playing the top 4 quarterbacks that you have the number 2 quarterback. I like that. That part of the equation I enjoy. The other part, tough sledding. We'll see. It's a little talk on LSU football here on this Monday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. We had some Take It or Leave It brought to you by Flight by Yingling coming up at the end of the show. When we come back, I started a series today that we're going to do every single day on LouisianaSports.net. Free to read. You can go check it out. Talking about each position group. It's called the in-depth chart. And I started with one that's light on depth, but maybe pretty solid in terms of the 2 guys they've got. It's at center. We'll talk about LSU's center position coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
With bold leadership and a growing population, Louisiana is rewarding excellence, attracting high-value companies, and fueling opportunity. Louisiana is winning now, and the sky is the limit. With every region and industry growing across a beautiful state that's more than a culture, it's a community with a quality of life that's more than satisfying. It's sustainable because the Louisiana you thought you knew is better than ever now. Come home, Louisiana.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We're Rev Business, a local provider with nearly 90 years of experience. So when it comes to business in Louisiana, we know that personalized service is key. And we're here to go the extra mile with all fiber solutions that deliver what every business needs, reliability and quality. We're not just providers, We're the local team dedicated to helping you succeed. True partnerships are homegrown. Rev Business, internet, phone, managed services. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Just a quick note here. Wednesday night, I have the honor of being a celebrity, I use air quotes there, waiter for the Baton Rouge Children's Advocacy Center fundraiser at LaBerge. The Children's Advocacy Center is incredible. They help work with young people who have been witnesses to crimes in the home and have a long road ahead of them because of a really, really tough hand that they've been dealt. And it's one of the honors of my year to be able to go there and help. If you would like to help, I've got a tip jar on my Twitter profile. I have retweeted it a couple times. I've retweeted it again. It's at the top. If you just search @HuntPalmer88. No tip too big or too small. $4, $3, $7, $10. All that is just greatly, greatly appreciated by the crew over there that does such amazing work with the young people in our community. So if you do have time and have the means and can go over, click on the link that is at the top of my Twitter profile right now and donate. I would really, really appreciate it. Everything closes up tomorrow for the fundraiser on Wednesday. So looking forward to getting to LaBerge and having a great night there. But if you can't make it to LaBerge, you can certainly help out via the internet. So my tip jar online is open for the Baton Rouge Children's Advocacy Center. Appreciate y'all for listening and for helping out. It means a ton. So let's talk some football here. LSU just a couple of weeks out from reporting to camp, and every year at this time of the calendar, I like to dive into the depth chart and kind of sink my teeth into it and get a real feel for what we're looking at when they report to practice for the first day. And so I write a series called In Depth Chart, which is on LouisianaSports.net, and it goes through every position on the field. And I started today with center. I'm going to do guard and tackle in the next couple of days, and we'll get to tight end, wide receiver. We'll go back to do running back and quarterback to wrap up the offense. But center is very interesting for LSU this year. Last year, DJ Chester was in the middle of that incredibly veteran offensive line. Will Campbell, Garrett Dellinger, Miles Frazier, Emory Jones, just 3 years of continuity starting. And you had a deal where you were losing your center in Charles Turner, who was a little bit undersized, but technically sound and tough. And you were adding in a 6'6", 320-pound center. And you're going, man, maybe this is a deal where it's going to be a huge upgrade in physicality, run the ball a little bit better, be more imposing than you were the year prior when it was like Jaden Daniels kind of doing everything. And Chester wasn't a disaster. He was a redshirt freshman out there. He just wasn't great. And he had certainly some bumps. If you look at his Pro Football Focus grades, he only graded higher than a 60 3 times. One against the Nichols, one against UCLA, and then one in the bowl game against Baylor. His SEC average grade on PFF was 51. Pass protection, 64.6. Run blocking, 50.1. And it just was an uneven season for Chester. So he was brought in as likely a guard, moved quickly to center, and now he does have a year of playing the position in the SEC under his belt. And that's a good thing. But they brought in competition. They went and got Braylon Moore, and there's a reason for that. Braylon Moore is 6'3", 300 pounds, a little bit lower center of gravity, a little bit shorter arms, but he started 12 games at left guard for Virginia Tech in 23 and 12 games at center in 2024. He did, at center last year, in the season opener, allow 2 sacks. That's a bad day at the office for any offensive lineman. But then he only gave up 1 sack the rest of the way. And his Pro Football Focus grades are better than Chester's. 76.9 in pass protection, 65.5 in the running game. 3 of his pass pro grades were over 80. One against Old Dominion, but Boston College and then Georgia Tech, who had a nice year, over 80 in pass protection. So when Moore committed to the transfer portal, I just assumed flatly that Braylon Moore would immediately be the starting center. He's a 3-year college player. He started at center previously. LSU had some issues at center. Like, this is what they're going to get him to do. And we go out in the spring, and DJ Chester is taking the vast majority of the steps with the ones at center. Moore played a little bit the second team, but it was generally DJ Chester at center much of the spring. But later on in the spring, that started to change a little bit. Usually, in the first group, DJ Chester would go with the ones at center, and then they'd run the first group back out there, and Chester would go at right guard, and Moore would play center. And Brian Kelly said time and time again in the spring, and repeated himself again in Atlanta last week, saying the spring was not about the depth chart. We're not trying to find the starters in the spring. This is about 2 things. It's about tactical advancement and technical advancement. We want guys to be technically sound in their mechanics, how they're doing things, and we want to have an understanding of the defense and the offense that we're trying to call. So tactical, technical. Tactical, technical. That's what they're trying to do. Not starters, not 2s, not 3s. But they also said in Atlanta last week, we've got to get to our starting lineup more quickly to develop the cohesion, the cohesiveness, to go out there and be at our best in week 1. Maybe that's been a bit of an issue. They've taken their time naming a starter at this position or that position, evaluating guys at this position or that position, not getting guys enough reps on the field as a unit, and it's hurt them in openers. I'm just hypothesizing, but I'm telling you that he did say, this is not a hypothesis, he said it, we got to get to our starters more quickly. Okay. Well, then start Braylon Moore. That's my solution. And that's what I think is going to happen in this spot. I think you got Braylon Moore as your starter. DJ Chester will very much compete for a spot at right guard. If he wins it, great. If he loses it, he's your reserve center. Even if he wins it, he's your reserve center, and then you'll plug somebody in at right guard, whether it's Cohen Eccles, whether it's the Carius Curran, the freshman, whether it's Bo Bordelon. I'm not sure. And I wrote this at LouisianaSports.net. I don't know who the emergency third center is. I don't know. I don't know that we got a good enough look, and I'm not that concerned. You start losing multiple guys at one given position, that's going to hurt anybody. So Chester's your backup. Moore's your starter. I think Chester goes to right guard, and that's, to me, the best way to line up this offense. You've got to play better at center this year. Whether that's DJ Chester making a jump, which is completely plausible. He was a redshirt freshman last year who hadn't played. Maybe he takes a big jump into his second year. Or Braylon Moore is just significantly better. And look, we've seen ACC Big 12 transfers come into LSU and perform. We've seen them come into LSU and wilt. I don't know. I can't tell you what that's going to be for Braylon Moore. but he's a pretty good player at Virginia Tech. He's got some pretty good measurables, and I think he's a better fit there than Chester, who maybe just is a little bit long and lean for that. Maybe better suited at guard. But you've got to play better on the offensive line. You've got to run the ball. You've got to protect Nussmeier. If those things don't happen, LSU is cooked. And all of that starts with the guy who's at the front of the spear, who's calling out the protections, who's getting the ball to the quarterback time and time again, and making things run efficiently. And Brad Davis had the luxury last year of easing in a new center amongst 4 complete veterans. Now you're plugging in a newcomer or a guy that didn't have a great year last year. So either way, it's got to get fixed. It's a big, big, big deal that LSU prepare themselves at center for a monstrous defensive front of Clemson, a pretty good defensive front for Florida. But by the time you get to the back end of that schedule and you see Alabama, you need to be humming. You need to be humming to start, but you need to be humming against Alabama for sure. And I think Braylon Moore is that guy for LSU at the center spot. So that's a look at center at LouisianaSports.net. It's our in-depth chart. We'll go through that daily here on the July editions of our show. Still got Meet the Freshmen to come on August 1st as well. So got 10 days to get to that, but we inevitably will do so. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on this Monday. We'll step aside, come back, close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. You can do something simple. Doesn't have to be a huge project. Something simple like a tub to shower conversion could be right up your alley. If you've got a tub and it's old and dingy or needs repair, just doesn't function, get rid of it. David and his team will come in, gut that deal, get the tub out, put a gorgeous glass walk-in shower in. Changes the look of your bathroom, changes the functionality of your bathroom, adds some value to your home. You spend a lot of time in the bathroom. Make it look great. Need a new vanity? David and his team can do that as well. Custom closets, they got you covered. Get the free consultation at OneBathAndClosets.com. Work with David, who's been at it 30 years, licensed, bonded, and insured. It's One Bath and Closets, OneBathAndClosets.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Fazan office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Fazan have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, back here to wrap it up here on this Monday. Got a lot of folks out again this week. Some vacations that are cranking back up. Everybody's trying to get that in before school cranks up here in just a couple of weeks, it appears. Summer just flew, which is awesome, because that's generally a bit of a tough time around these parts. But when the baseball squad gets you through June, transfer portal in baseball, and then media days, like that's how you like it done.
See, that sounds more like a person with children type of issue, because I'm about to say,
yeah,
I enjoy the summertime because I ain't got no, I don't have kids not in school, so I get to kick my feet up.
I still got daycare helping me out with that, so we're all good there. I'm just talking like from a content perspective. Like, man, it can be tough. It can be tough if the baseball team bows out early. But if you get through the College World Series in June, and then you get some transfer portal, and then all of a sudden, boom, you got the media days in the middle of July. It goes quick in that instance.
See, you got to take the Jimmy Ott approach. You got to set it to where you get a month of vacation. You got to, you got to find that time. Where's the day period like this?
I'm not sure my wife's going to go for me going to Del Mar for a month.
Yeah, now I think about it. Then and you got some baby children. Yeah,
yes,
you're gonna,
I do.
She needs you. Yeah,
well, I'll be here, I guess. All right, split, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs. It's light, it's crisp, it's refreshing, and it keeps that great beer flavor. If you struggle trying to find a light beer that you like, Flight by Yingling is your best option, whether you're on the grill, at the pool, tailgate season's coming up. Wherever you get your beer, you can buy Flight by Yingling. It's the next generation of light beer.
All right, Hunt. You're a Bengals fan, so we got to talk about the Bengals.
Huge Bengals fan.
Got to talk about the Bengals. So Bengals Director of Player Personnel Duke Tobin spoke to reporters on Monday and suggested that those advising Shamar Stewart, are to blame for the ongoing dispute over his rookie contract. So this is what Tobin said, quote, "I don't blame Shamar. He's listening to the advice he's paying for." Tobin told reporters, "I don't understand advice. We're treating him fairly. I hope Shamar comes in. He needs to be here. I would encourage him to be here. He will be a factor for a championship caliber football team. I like to see him, and I hope he's here soon." Will Shamar Stewart ever sign this contract? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. He will. They're just being the Bengals. It's what they do. They pinch pennies. And I understand. We talked about this with Tyler Shough last week. Like, I understand that it's a business.
Yes.
I understand that you want to cut expenses and you want to add revenue. That's how business works. But sometimes when you take a player in the first round of the draft, you got to pay that player.
Yeah.
And that's what the Bengals need to do. They're trying to put clauses in contracts, guaranteed money, all this. No, just it's a slotted pick. Give them the money and get it to practice. I don't. That's how you run a team. You run a team by cutting checks that you need to cut, and this is when you need to cut.
And especially at a position of need. You desperately need a defensive end. So University of Memphis has reportedly made a membership offer to join the Big 12 that is expected to be as high as $200 million over the next 5 years. But reports show the Big 12 is not interested at all. Should the Big 12 allow Memphis to join? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I mean, that's what you are. What makes Memphis significantly better, significantly worse, I should say, than some of the programs that are currently in the Big 12?
Yeah.
I don't, it feels like they're in a big city. They've got a market.
Pretty regional too.
I mean,
even though it's not regional no more, but
I mean, I guess you could say based on conference affiliation, but like I just don't know that TCU is significantly better than Memphis. It's a different school, it's a private school, and they've gotten to a Rose Bowl, and I get all that, but like I don't know. I think so little of the Big 12. They took Cincinnati. Why can't you take Memphis? I don't know what the difference is there. So I think so little of the Big 12 without Oklahoma and Texas. That's probably on me a little bit there. And maybe it's the bias that I have because my college roommates are Memphis boys. But sure, take them. Whatever. He's the Big 12.
Who would have thought Kansas and Colorado were moving the needles like that?
Yeah,
for the Big 12,
go Jayhawks. Rock chalk.
So Rory will never. Well, hold on. Let me make sure I'm reading this correctly.
Rory McIlroy.
McIlroy is not McElroy. Okay. Didn't McElroy play for Bama or something like that? So Rory McIlroy will never win another major. Take it or leave it.
I will leave that. Look, Scottie looks great, and yeah, Rory's only won one in 10 years, but he's still really good. He's still top 10 this week at the Open Championship. He still hits it a ton. He's still got a ton of game. The question is, he's just been a little bit different since he won the Masters. The commitment doesn't appear to be quite right there, and he's admitted that. Like he climbed his Mount Everest. He did what he wanted to do in golf, but he's still so talented that on a given week he can beat anybody.
Fine, yeah.
So he's still young enough. I think that Rory will win one or two more. I'm not saying he's going to rip off four more. Like some people were saying, oh, he's won the Masters. Now he's freed up. He's just going to go get it. I don't know if I feel like that, especially after he didn't win any of the last three of the year. But that's a guy that I think absolutely will win at least one more.
Can never count him out. Ooh, I know this one pains you right here. The Brewers will never lose another game. Take it or leave it.
I mean, I got to take it. I don't know what else I could say.
Now.
They've won 10 games in a row. The Brewers need to be studied and I think probably kicked out of the sport because this is an organization that allows all of its best players to just walk in free agency or trades them. Closer, I'll get rid of you. Or two aces, Corbin Burns, Woodruff. Yeah, we don't. They just continue to win. They just get rid of all their best players. So they can't pay them. They're a small market, and the Cubs. I looked up yesterday.
Yes.
The Cubs had the best record in the big leagues. The Brewers let all their best players go, and the Cubs had a one game lead. And oh, by the way, the Cubs lost yesterday, and the Brewers went to L.A. and swept the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So now they're tied with the Brewers. It drives me insane. You're the Brewers. No one cares about you. No one wants to watch you. You've never won anything. You don't have any good players based on name recognition, yet you have the best record in baseball. I don't understand. It's driving me insane. It'd be one thing if they were like the Dodgers and they just had all these I know. It'd be one thing if they had all these superstars.
Yeah.
Name a Brewer.
Other than the Miz, I can't. Oh, Freddie Peralta. Yeah, the pitcher. That's about it. That's all I got. Oh, Christian Yelich. I know Christian Yelich.
Yelich?
Yeah, I know Yelich.
He's the star.
Yeah, that's about
past his prime.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Past his MVP years.
Yeah.
But they just win, and it drives me insane. This is the best the Cubs have played
in a long time.
Since 2017.
He's got to be because.
And they're tied because the Brewers won 10 games in a row. And 6 of those were against the Dodgers, which drives me nuts. Those are the games they're supposed to lose. They didn't lose.
They didn't lose.
Is that enough complaining about the Brewers for this show?
You probably just jinxed them. Put it out there like, yeah, they won't lose another game. And look, boom.
It does warm my heart bigly.
Yeah.
That we're here in late July. August is coming up. Those are kind of the dog days of sports.
Yep.
And the Cubs are right in the thick of it. So that gives me something every single night that I'm locked in on. Cubs Royals tonight from Wrigley. Fired up for that. When the Cubs stink, like this is a tough month to get through. Like you're going through like training camp highlights, hard knocks, Tuesdays, and like it's tough.
Well, it's good to see the 360 because I remember I worked the show when they lost to the Dodgers when they played in like Tokyo or whatever, or Korea, and you was pretty down in the dumps about the Cubs.
That was terrible.
It's good to see you're back in it.
Those losses were tough because they were at 5 a.m.
Yeah,
and I didn't have to. I chose to wake up and get penalized for that. So. Yeah, but the Cubs are playing great. They're a good team. They got to go make some trades, get some pitching. But I'm very, very upset about the Brewers, and
as you should be.
I texted Luke Johnson about it. He's a Brewers fan. I said, I'm filing a complaint to the commissioner because you can't have the best record in baseball with a bunch of guys no one's ever heard of, and that's what the Brewers are doing. So I don't like that.
That's good drafting.
All right, that's it for this Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Take it or leave it, brought to you by Flight by Yingling. If you missed any of today's show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. I opened the show. NFL's rosters ranked 1 to 32 by ESPN. Didn't look good for the Saints, but instead of bagging on the Saints, I decided to say what could change the Saints being the worst roster in the NFL. Gave thoughts on that at the top of the show. You can find them at Hunt on Saints on YouTube. Joey Volcho is committed to Vanderbilt now from Stanford, so that means LSU likely done in the portal. Can't close the door completely. Likely done in the portal. At 115, I went over LSU's entire baseball roster and what that's going to look like. My thoughts as a first-timer, the UFC 318. Gave you thoughts on that in New Orleans on TV. Scottie Scheffler winning the Open Championship at the end of the hour. Then we really transitioned to football for the entire second hour. Sean Fazan from Fox 8 on the Saints, especially the quarterback spot. Talked to him about that. You can find it at Hunt on Saints, as well as some quarterback thoughts and LSU's offensive line. Missed any of it? Catch it wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Like, subscribe, rate, and review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place, for a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar.